And so when you were growing up and you were taking care of your family, what was your first job?
Oh, I had a lot of jobs. When I first started working, I was 12 years old. I worked at delivering papers. I gave that up. I went and worked at A&P and gave that up.
What's A&P?
The grocery store. It was like the Jew. Then I went and worked at little photocopy company that was downtown.
How old were you?
Huh?
How old were you when you were...
About 16 or 17. Then I went and worked by Colombian Banknote Company.
What were you photocopying at that?
Army discharges. We made them little plastic containers so they can carry it in their wallets.
And so you made quite a few of those?
Oh yeah, that's what kept us going in business.
So it was a pretty big
And then
army?
for artists, we used to make photocopies for them too.
How big was the army back then?
How big was?
How many soldiers were there in the army?
I have no idea. These were soldiers who were discharged.
And so they had government contracts? This country?
No government contracts. They used to go to the city hall. This guy that worked at city hall used to recommend them coming to us, and that's how we got all the business from the soldiers.
And so did they have certain projects every month or every year?
Who?
The company?
There was only about 5 workers there.
Was it a pretty good business at that time?
Yeah, it was really great business. Then when the war was over, that was it. Then I went to work for a Colombian Banknote Company. It was a printing company.
And so which war was this?
Second World War.
Second World War. And how old were you exactly during?
When the Second World War started,
Yeah, how old were you when that
Oh.
started?
12 years old then.
And what were you thinking at the time when this was going on?
I don't remember.
Did it affect the lifestyle? Or the fact that what you guys
Oh, sure, you had to have stamps to buy gas and all that stuff. To buy food, you had to have the stickers. You usually got a certain amount of food, a certain amount of gas mileage and stuff like that.
And so why'd they do that?
Hmm?
Why'd they do that?
Because they were rationing the stuff. They had to give most of the stuff to the soldiers.
So the whole economy and everything went with it was
Right.
geared towards the protection of the
You
state.
could only get it for a certain amount of gas.
And so this
Gas
was
was only 8 cents a gallon. But then if you went to the black market, it's 25 cents a gallon.
and how many miles per gallon were the cars?
I have no idea.
And did the cars pollute a little bit more back then?
Oh yeah, there was no pollution orders then at all.
But I'm saying from the car itself.
Yeah, there was no restrictions at all.
So there was no environmental protection agency at the time. There was no
Not that I remember.
there were no groups at all that had any concern
No,
about
not
it.
like there is now.
And what was your favorite subject in school?
Arithmetic.
Arithmetic. Why'd you like it?
Because I was very good. That's the only thing I was really good at.
Hmm.
Spelling was terrible. Reading was so-so. Geography was so-so. History was so-so. I don't know if they even have geography anymore in the schools.
Some colleges they still teach it. And do you remember your favorite teacher?
No, I don't.
Do you remember any of the teachers?
No, I don't. I remember I had a lot of girlfriends in 8th grade.
Really? How many girlfriends did you have?
Well, let me see. About 3 or 4.
Wow. That's pretty good. And you said recently that
There was one girl, I remember a girl named Charlotte Morgan. She was a pretty girl. And then we had a girl named Anne Tremaine. She had a beautiful voice. She used to sing Ave Maria for us. Beautiful voice she had. And in school, we used to go every Friday. We had to go to church. at about 2 o'clock and go in there to practice singing for the 9 o'clock mass. And then everybody had to go to the 9 o'clock mass. And if you got caught talking, the teacher would tap someone on the shoulder and go get you, and you had to go sit by her then.
Did they teach science at all at that time? Any sciences?
Not that I remember.
And how about any arts? Did you guys do any artwork?
No.
Any painting or sculpture or observing any artwork at all?
No.
And how about like practical kind of work? Like say, building things or, woodwork or...
There was none of that stuff either.
So, and was religion more involved in the school?
Oh yeah, in the morning you had religion, 1 hour of religion every morning.
What did they teach usually?
Catechism.
And what did you guys do in the classes, and how did they teach?
We had a book of what the catechism, and you had to read it all the time.
Did you have to rewrite anything?
Huh?
Did you have to rewrite?
No, you have to rewrite what?
Rewrite some of the books at all?
No. Just homework and stuff like that.
And recently you were saying one of your friends, Paul, that you play golf with, he knows a girl. I think her name is Rita.
Oh yeah, I met her when I was working at Union Special. She was working in the merchandise mark, and I was in Union Special, and we start putting signs up. So finally we met. I took her on a couple of dates, but then she was going to be getting married.
Oh.
So she gave me her phone number. She said, "Call me a year if it don't work." But I never did call her.
Oh.
But then Paul met her, and she remembered me from over 50 years ago.
Where did you meet her?
Huh?
Where did he meet her?
Where did I meet her?
No, where did he meet her?
He met her on the golf course with her husband.
Oh, and they were just talking?
Yeah, and they were talking about, and Paul said, they started talking where they worked and all that stuff, and he said, "Did you know a guy named Amato VITI?"
Wow. That's obviously really good. She remembers you 50 years. It must have been striking her.
She was a pretty woman, too.
And she worked for the IRS?
Yeah.
And back to your childhood, while you were working and doing all these jobs, your mother had quite a load and quite a lot of work to do.
Oh, sure.
And you said one time that she fainted one time?
Oh, yeah. After the accident, she used to faint at least every other week.
Wow.
Finally, she did. She stopped fainting.
And then after your father passed, how did that affect your life and your family's life?
Well, it was a hard time. We used to have to buy coal, a bushel of coal at a time. I forget what the price it was to keep warm. But one thing, when I was working, my mom in the morning had my coffee and toast ready for me to go to work. And she had the stove going so it'd be nice and warm.
And so how was the process of making the food? Like, did it take longer to heat the stove, or?
I don't know how she started the stoves. She took care of all that stuff.
So you didn't really have to do any cooking or any kind of domestic work at the house? Just jobs and working and making money for the family?
Yeah, I didn't have to do any work in the house. My mother did all that.
She cleaned all the clothes?
Oh yeah, she used to wash your clothes.
And how'd they clean the clothes back then?
I don't know if she had a washing machine or not. I forget. Or she had a scrub thing. Used to scrub a scrub board like, and used to clean the clothes like that.
And if your father never passed away, how much different do you think your life and your family's life?
I'd probably be a rich kid.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. He was always into some kind of business.
And so you think that him passing away, did it...
Oh, it changed our whole lifestyle. We had to live like we were really poor. I remember having sometimes just Mrs. Grass noodle soup for dinner, for supper.
How long did that last for?
Oh, I don't remember.
Did anybody help you guys at all?
Huh?
Did anybody help you guys during that time
No.
period?
And when my dad died, they put him frozen for a month,
Yeah, you were telling me.
so my mother could see him when she got out of the hospital.
And she was injured?
My mom was injured. Oh yeah.
What kind of injury?
She had something wrong with her leg. They had to put a steel pin in her heel and put weights on there to keep it up, and that a whole month like that.
And so they froze his body?
Huh?
And so they froze your father's body?
Yeah, they put it in the freezer until my mother could see the body.
And where do they freeze him at?
In the cemetery do that.
Did you guys have to pay extra for that?
Oh yeah.
How much did that cost at the time?
I have no idea.
Did anybody in your family, any relatives, or help you guys at all?
Nope, none of them helped.
Why not?
I have no idea why they didn't help. Good thing my mother had that life insurance. The paper, when you used to deliver the paper, you used to have a life insurance for it. So my mother got $1,000 for that. But then she paid for the stone and she paid for the funeral and everything, so that $1,000 didn't last very long.
And so him passing away, since you were the oldest, you had to go to work. And
Oh,
you had to
yeah.
support the whole, Bob and Joe and Angie. And since you were working most of the time, when your father passed away, how did that affect them specifically? How did it change their lives?
I don't know, my sister had to quit school too, to stay home to take care of Bobby, because my mother had to go to work too. So she quit, she didn't finish high school either.
And then how about Joe?
Joe did.
And then what did he...
Joe was really a smart kid, the smartest of all of us.
What was he really good at?
I forget what the heck he was good at.
And then what was his career?
Pardon?
What was his career?
I don't know.